At the
Yes.
end of the day, there is only so far that love and feelings will take you. The day to day will happen. The feelings.
Moving forward, I'd like to ask, in your experience, what milestones and discussions should couples prioritize in this stage in order to build like the strong foundation we're talking about?
There are quite a few things that you can talk about, but I almost say group them. So, I have a list, and I'll read it out because I tend to have lists anyway. I have a list of the areas of your life. And then remember, we talked about expectations and what expectations do you have, and the fact that unmet expectations can cause issues and challenges in relationships. You have to think of the areas of your life in terms of your spirituality or lack thereof. If you don't have spirituality, you have to think of it from the place of personal development, character development, and you as a person. Then think about your spouse, think about your family and friend relationships. So I tend to group those together. Telling you, think of the different areas of your life, because all those areas will play themselves out in your relationship at some point. One way or the other, they will. So think about spirituality, personal development, your significant other or your spouse, your family and friend relationships, your work, that's either your career, your business, or ministry, depending on which path you're following in life, your health and wellness, your emotional and mental health, your money and finances, and then fun and recreation. I tend to always group this for my clients that these are key areas of our lives. Everything else sits under one of these 10 areas. So when it comes to transitioning, before you ever even get into a relationship, you must understand these areas of your life and understand what you want for those areas. Because if you come into the relationship not knowing it, you can go with the flow for a while and you can go with it for a long time. But eventually, because we are human and there is a part of us, our soul always needs its own expression. Eventually, no matter how long you flow with somebody else's expectations for a particular area of your life, eventually you will build resentment. Eventually, you will dig in your heels and say, actually, this does not feel right. And you want to be sure that before you get into a relationship, you understand what these areas of your own life would look like. Then when you're transitioning into the relationship, you want to be having conversations to get a sense of what these areas look like for the other person. Because when you do that, it even helps you to decide if this is somebody you want to go long term with. If, for example, I always give this example. If, for example, I'm a woman and God has said I'm called to work in somewhere like the World Bank, I meet a really nice guy. He wears an Armani suit, drives a flashy car, and all of that. But guess what? He wants a stay at home wife. He wants a woman that's not never going to go to work, a woman that's going to, her only job in life is to run his house and look after his children. In the area of my life that has to do with work and career and purpose and expression, can you see that I'm already misaligned with him?
Yeah.
Even though he might tick all my other boxes, the areas that really matter, we are not aligned. That's why I said before you even get into the relationship, you have to understand these particular areas. If you then understand these particular areas, you can then begin to have conversations that help. And when you start dating is a fact finding mission, because it's helping you to make a decision. Let's be honest, let's be practical here. At the
Yes.
end of the day, there is only so far that love and feelings will take you. The day to day will happen. The feelings will fade. So you want to be sure that the decision that you made to be with this person is a decision that aligns with every area of your life. It's why, even in my book and in my programs, I talk about something. I say to the women, there's something called a king blueprint. A blueprint for a building helps you to know where everything is. It gives you, it tells you the plan. When you have a blueprint for the future spouse that you are looking to be with, you have an idea of what you're looking for, so that when you meet someone, it's almost like an invisible checklist is going on in your head, because your blueprint already tells you that for you, laughter is a big deal. Then you meet a guy that's always serious and never laughs. If laughter is a big deal for you, you can't be with somebody that never laughs. You are going to be frustrated eventually. At some point, you are going to be frustrated. So when you're dating, dating becomes a fact finding vision, a mission on, does this person align with what I want? And the man is doing exactly the same thing, because nobody goes into a relationship just with any random human being. You literally have something that you're working through in your mind, that actually I want this, this, and this in the relationship that I want to be in. So, for example, a man can say, I want a home where there is peace. Then he meets a woman that's always dramatic. Are they going to, they can't work together because they literally are not aligned. He wants peace. The girl is always having drama. She's fighting with everybody and anybody. Can you see that eventually nothing is going to click? Even if they click in terms of they're sexually attracted to each other, even if they click in terms of they're from the same backgrounds, but a fundamental for him is peace in his home. And she doesn't bring that. So you need to do that so that when you're transitioning, you are doing these checks, you're doing these balances in your head to see. And then you are having conversations. And please, we are adults. Have adult conversations. This is not the time to shy away, especially if you're going into a relationship where you eventually want to settle down with the person. Have adult conversations. What is important to you? Where are you going in life? What would you like to achieve in the next 5 years? And even if he doesn't know, does he have a sense of he's even a person that is teachable enough that he will start to think about it? What is important to you? What is your family background like? How did you grow up? What does sex mean for you? What does money mean to you? How does life look for you when you don't have money? These are fundamentals. Because if you have these conversations and you talk about these things, when we're coming together in a relationship, remember I talked about expectations. I have my expectations. You have your expectations. Part of our discussion is, are our expectations so far apart from each other that they can never meet? Or can our expectations have a middle ground? And determining the type of relationship that we want will determine where the expectations sit. If, for example, my expectations were shaped by social media influencers and I just want to live a fast life and a luxurious life, but the guy is like, look, I can afford the basics of life and I'm looking to live a good and satisfied life long term, but I'm not going to give you a fast and luxurious life today. He has high expectations, he has his expectations. Conversations will then help you to determine if those expectations can meet somewhere. And then you're also using that opportunity to see how the person, part of your transition is seeing the person in certain settings, seeing them amongst their friends, seeing them amongst their family. Because if you see a person and how they treat their family, it will tell you how they will treat you. You will have an idea of how they're going to treat you based on what you have seen. Because remember that whatever people show you, believe them. That's who they are day to day. And even if they were pretending, I remember there was this guy I was dating a long time ago now. And I'll never forget his words to me. People can only pretend for so long. Eventually, their true self still shows itself. So, part of your transition is paying attention, not just with your ears, but with your eyes, so that you're fully present in the thing that is happening. And even all of this still keeps happening when you get married. Because remember that you are two different individuals from two different houses who grew up with two different experiences. There are things that even as you get married, things will begin to, shape themselves, show themselves. And then over time, you find your balance. But you find your balance in light of your own unit, not in light of what your parents said your unit should look like or what your pastor in church said your unit should look like, in light of your own unit. And that's why conversations are important. What are our family values? This is for newlyweds. What are your family values? Have you talked about what you want your family values to look like? Have you talked about what you want your parenting to look like? Because imagine if your own parenting, you want to be a soft parent. The other one is like, no, my parents caned me when I was young. I'm going to cane my children. We're in 2023. You don't necessarily need to cane children for them to be, for them to be disciplined. But that's an aside. The point is, even for newlyweds, the journey to your marriage and then the journey after is a continuous conversation. Anything that you now notice that is new, talk about it. Oh, we had this issue, and what it showed me was this. What do you think? How do you think we can make adjustments? The more we do this, the more we will have thriving relationships. Many times we go into relationships with a lot of assumptions and very little talking. And even when we talk at people, we don't listen to what they have to say in light of the units that we're trying to build.